Hello, hello.
Smooth.
Yeah. Happy Sunday. Welcome. How's it going, Dan?
Very well. Yourself?
Doing well, doing well. Welcome,
Good.
everybody, to Call the AD, where the A stands for Arthur and the D stands for Dan. This week, the topic is American versus British watches. Both sort of formerly great watchmaking countries that I think have some resurgence and some cool stuff to show. So we're going to do a little challenge around that, trying to pick three watches each at different price points that are the best of American and best of British watchmaking today. So that should be fun. And as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so that you get notified of future lives and good videos here on the Scottish Watches Live channel. So,
cool.
Yeah.
We've certainly got some people filtering in. We've got a Swiss Made Obsession, Race, I can't say that properly as per normal. Scottish Watches, of course, and Terry and Max. Hello, Max.
Hey, welcome, everybody.
Yeah, welcome. So how, first of all, like the challenge itself, did you find it difficult?
I did a bit, and
Yeah.
I will say there's not a lot of large American brands these days, so my list is more like on the lower price end, micro brand kind of stuff, and on the higher price end, more like independent watchmaking.
Yeah.
You know,
That's interesting because I found that the same, really.
yeah,
My expensive pick is, I mean, it's still expensive, but it's not the £20,000 or the $20,000 that we kind of set ourselves for the high end stuff. So it was 1,000, under 1,000, under 5,000, and under 20,000. So
I maxed out the budget on all three. I promise.
Sorry,
I hit the budget limit on all three. So,
well, I was going to ask you about that because that's not normal for you. Normally, I have to lend you money.
That's true. Well, I might have pushed it a little bit on a couple. We'll see.
Right. Okay. That's allowed.
They round to the numbers that we agreed upon.
That's okay. That's okay. So, any news your end for this week? What have you been up to?
Let's see. My wife and I just drove down to Florida. If you remember, those of you that followed us for a while, back in August, we spent a couple weeks here at the beach, and we've done that again. So I brought 4 watches with me this time. The Black Bay 58, the Breitling Premier I'm borrowing from our friend Karan, my PAM 560, and what was the other one? I'm blanking.
That's bad. You're forgetting.
It is. That's terrible. Oh, the Top Gun. Yeah.
Okay. How can you forget the Top Gun? That's your heavy hitter.
I know.
That's your top.
And I wore it yesterday, so just bad memories. Feeling sleepy. That's all.
Yeah. Do you look forward to wearing that the most out of all your watches? Is that the one watch you put it on? You're like, yes, this is my heavy hitter. This is
it's definitely up there. I mean, I don't always reach for it because I like variety, but when I put it on, I'm like, oh yeah, this is it.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, I genuinely look forward to wearing a watch I haven't worn for a while, and you always rediscover something, don't you, about a watch you haven't worn for a while? So that is actually quite fun.
And I've been doing this thing where I've been tracking how many times I've worn different watches over the past couple of months, and that definitely influences me. Like I'm excited to try to help one watch catch up with another one. So just yesterday, the Top Gun passed the Speedmaster and is now in the number 2 spot behind the Black Bay 58. Yeah.
You're a very methodical man, aren't you? Whereas I'm all about chaos. I'll just wear what I feel like, really. But like we've spoken about it before, I generally wear 2 watches. The 2 watches that I have are always my work watch, and then I'll wear a different watch for the weekend. And by doing that, I actually genuinely look forward to the weekend for that reason. And with COVID about and with the whole lockdown thing as well, it adds an interesting part to the weekend, because at the moment the weekends aren't, other than our show and spending time with you lovely people, it's not a very exciting time at the moment, is it, for a lot of us?
No, that's right. You gotta create things to look forward to, right?
Exactly. I'm going to say hello to Watch Medicine. I'm going to say hello to Sam, and Ben's just joined as well. So hello, Ben. It's good to see you guys.
I'm sorry though. Watch Medicine's only said hi to me, so
Of course
hi.
he has. Yeah, of course he has. I rise above that sort of thing. So yeah. Any other news your end?
Not particularly. Just looking forward to spending time with those couple of watches I brought with me to Florida. So 3 weeks down here, trying to escape from the colder weather that's back home in DC.
And did you pick the Black Bay 58 because you were going to the beach? Do you think?
A little bit, yeah, but it's also just my go-to all-rounder. I just can't really imagine living without it, to be honest.
It's so funny. It's so funny because I know, like, you've taken that with the theme of where it's a dive watch, and it's going to be near the sea, and you're like, don't go anywhere near the sea. Go nowhere near the sand.
It's true, and in fact, you know how I'm so OCD about the condition of my watches. My dog Merlin, I found out he scratched the polished side of the case this week.
Yeah,
he was playing with me and literally bit my watch. And I can see these 2 little teeth marks down the side. Like, oh,
that's horrendous. Can polish it out though.
Probably, yeah, eventually, but it still bothers me.
But at least you have a memory of that exciting fun time.
That's true. I mean, I'll try my best to think fondly of him and not just be like, "You're going to the pound. It's over."
So Karan has joined finally. He's fashionably late, but he is here. Hello, Karan. Hello, Will as well, and hello, Rick. So
yeah, it's good to see you all.
This is how daft I was. I was commenting in the box saying hello to everyone, and it came up as Scottish Watches Live, and I thought Rick had come into the room. And it's me commenting.
This is a very professional setup we have here, isn't it?
Exactly. I'm like, hello all, and then like it comes up, and it's like, oh, Rick's joined. Hello, Rick.
You're saying hi to yourself.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's fantastic.
So just a couple. There's not really too much my end on watch news. There was a really good podcast, Fratello podcast with Alon. We've spoken about Alon before. He runs the Ace List. He does his own sort of Wednesday. He does his own lives with different guests, which is really, really cool. But he did a podcast with Rob Nuds, and it was just really good. Just about on his take on the industry, on retail, how it's evolved up to today. Yeah, it's really good.
Cool. So where can we find that? Is that on the Ace List or?
No, it's on Spotify.
Okay.
I'm not. It might be on YouTube, but it's on Spotify and probably other platforms.
Cool.
If you go to Fratello, I should imagine you'll find out what platform it is. So
yeah, nice, cool. And there was also a pretty good Scottish Watches Live on Friday that we were not on this week, but yeah.
No, but let's do our own take. So your one watch collection, what would you choose?
So that was the theme. This is funny because I've thought about this some. It's a terrible thing to ask a watch enthusiast. It's quite scary to think about. I think for a one watch collection, I would own a watch that I don't. Right.
Ben, you naughty boy.
I did think that's what you said, to be honest.
Nuds. N-U-D-D-S, not nuts. Remember, this is a family show. We're not rude.
Right. That's right. So if I had to have a one watch collection, I think it would be a watch that I don't own. And I don't own it because it's so good that I think it would turn me towards a one watch collection. And I think for me, it would probably be the 39 millimeter Rolex Explorer 1. I just think it's such a good, versatile all-arounder that it would steal so much time from my other watches. That would be my pick. Yeah.
I'm surprised. I didn't think you were going to say that. I thought you were going to say VC Overseas.
Oh, that would have been a good one. But it's so dressy for sometimes. I mean, I wouldn't always feel comfortable wearing an Overseas. I think an Explorer being kind of like under the radar Rolex, I think I'd be comfortable with it. So,
Do
how about you?
do you know what? Just before I continue, we haven't done a wrist check, have we?
Oh
So
yeah, I
Black
kind of
Bay,
showed this one. Yep,
Black
Black
Bay
Bay.
58 for you.
Yeah,
Apple Watch for me, and I know you'll all be very pleased.
and that's all you've got on? Not? Oh, okay. There
No.
it is.
Speedy 60th today, so yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Looking
love
great.
this watch. Amazing. It's an amazing watch. Really is.
So would it be your only, or would it be something else?
My only watch would be the 3570 Speedmaster straight away, instantly, because it gets worn to work, it gets bashed, knocked around, it's been covered in aircraft oil, it's been abused. I mean, and I know that scares the life out of you, but it genuinely is my one watch, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
And you've defied expectations here too.
The problem is, though, I mean, as much as it pains me to say it, I mean, the Navitimer is literally up there with it, but the Navitimer is it more delicate than the Speedmaster? I don't think it is more delicate. It's the perception of the Navitimer for me is a pilot's watch. It should be on a flight deck.
Right.
Whereas a Speedmaster, I mean, I know obviously it was on a spacecraft, but I do think it generally has that more kind of engineering appeal to it. I don't know. I think I've built up memories with it and things as well, and I genuinely have used and abused it. So I just feel like it suits that for me. And I think the design aesthetic is amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
So
that would be close for me too.
So for me, out of all the watches that was on the Scottish Watches Live on Friday, Ricky picked what I thought was the best watch, because with that ethos in mind for me, my personal situation, he picked the stainless steel G-Shock. Is it the 5300 or 5600? I could never remember but he picked the stainless steel one. Really cool. Again, just you could abuse it. You could literally abuse it, but it would.
I mean, that's a very practical pick, right?
Yeah.
From an only watch perspective, but yeah. Hey, Blaine's just joined. That's good.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello, Blaine. How are you? He's in the car listening. Hope you're not speeding, not being a naughty boy and driving really fast. So yeah, that is like literally, I think it's all our worst nightmare, isn't it, to ask that question?
A one watch collection. Yeah. Oh, ridiculous.
That's really hard. I think so. Max has said, I knew Max would answer this. I would go for my Explorer or the 14060 for the one and only watch. Now, is that his Submariner that he wants?
Yeah, that's the no date pre-ceramic sub. Yeah.
I'd be interested in Karan, actually. Karan, what would you pick as your one watch, the one watch you could only have?
Yeah, as a guy with such a big collection, and as a dealer who sees so many watches come through, it'd be kind of cool.
So Terry is showing his disdain for my Apple Watch. Dan, I know you're doing your challenge, but please put a hammer through the Apple Watch. Well, actually, there was one run it didn't record, and I was really angry, and I nearly did throw it across the road. So I wasn't very pleased, but it was probably user error. So
you could we could do something where we set a fundraising target, like a really, really high one. And if people help you hit it, you have to smash your Apple Watch live on camera.
Maybe that would work. Probably would.
You just have to figure out what you're comfortable with, something suitably high. Yeah,
£1. He just answered. So Patek 5070, undoubtedly. Absolutely no idea what that looks like. Do you?
Yes, I do. Let's see.
Screen share it.
I'm not really great with the. Let's do that.
Okay. Blaine said he heard drive really fast. That's all he heard out of that. So he probably is driving really fast.
Here we go. Let's pop up that Patek. Some of you know this. This may not be the particular color he's referring to. I'm not sure actually, but super nice symmetrical balance to register. Chrono.
Can you put it on? Can you put it larger? Make it larger. I can just see.
This is the platinum.
Right. If you could make it larger, because I can't really.
Oh shoot! Sorry, the streaming's getting and the screen share is not working right.
Oh, that's not good.
Apologies. There we go.
Oh yeah, that is nice actually.
It is a beautiful watch.
Yeah, that is nice.
Not for those who hate cut-off numerals, but beautiful watch.
Stephanie would throw that in the trash can or the bin.
I think she would. Yeah.
So he's just said that's a Lemania movement. So is that an evolution of the 1861? I think
I don't know.
Probably might be. Quran. Hopefully you all know that. He probably does. So Watch Medicine said he's not going to pick on me this month because I'm doing my 5K running challenge. Thank you, Watch Medicine.
You've bought yourself some time at least. He's just saving them all up for December.
He is. He is. Cool. Well, shall we move on to the actual challenge in hand?
Yes, let's do it.
So I think you should go first.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'll philosophize for a minute. Yeah. I think it's interesting that both the US and the UK, if you look back to like 1800s and even earlier 1900s, were much more prominent in watchmaking than they are today. So when you go to this challenge and you're looking for 3 watches at different price points that are American or British, your options are much different than they would have been, back then. As I said at the beginning, I ended up looking sort of to micro brands at the $1,000 and even $5,000 price points. And then I guess you'd call fancy micro brands are called independents these days, I guess. So our third price point was around 20,000 US. So to start out, I went with, let's share this here. I went with, from California, the Weiss watch company standard issue field watch. So,
see, I did have a little. So Arthur sent me an email with his picks on, and I had a little sneaky look. I didn't look too quickly, and I can see exactly why you've picked this. I know this is an Arthur pick, definitely.
Well, it has kind of like it would be a good all-rounder. It's just over the budget, to be honest. It's got the sort of piloty sword hands that I like. And those who may have listened to the Watch and Listen podcast, Cameron Weiss, who's a watchmaker who started this company, obviously helps run that podcast as well. So I think it's a cool watch. They make not the movements themselves, but they finish and assemble the movements themselves, which I believe in this watch is basically an ETA or ETA. I think they do the dials themselves and maybe the cases. So that was a theme here. It's pretty hard to find in-house movements in American watches, and I imagine British too.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I'll be honest with you. I looked at your picks because I wanted to double check that you hadn't picked all your picks had just American movements in, because I would have been stuffed.
Yeah, right.
But as we all know, that's quite a rare thing nowadays.
Especially maybe at the upper price points we were talking about, but here's some better shots from a Hodinkee write-up on this guy. Pretty handsome watch, and I believe Watch Medicine has one of these in a cool color with his dial color theme.
I can see why you've picked it as well. It's got that like Flieger look to it.
Yeah.
And you love that, don't you?
Yeah, part Flieger, part field watch, kind of all mashed into one. It's pretty cool. Let's see what else to say about it. Oh, there's the movement. They do a nice job finishing this, I think. It's funny. It says Los Angeles, California on the dial here, and that's where they're based. But just yesterday, I saw an Instagram post from Cameron Weiss saying he's moving their operation to Nashville, Tennessee. So still American, obviously, but moving eastward. So that was my first pick at the $1,000 price point.
Did you say what size it was?
It's a 42, but they also make a 38 with it's an automatic. That's a manual wind. The 38 is automatic, and I think it has an Eterna movement in it, so it's a bit more expensive. But
it's cool. I like that. I do.
Yeah, like actually, here's some. I was right. Watch Medicine does own the gray dial. Okay, previously owned by Alton Brown, celebrity chef in the US, if you don't know who he is.
Yes, I do
Very
know.
cool.
I think he's been on something recently. I've read about Alton Brown. Was he on a podcast? Was he on?
Yeah, I think he's done some Hodinkee stuff because
Yeah, I
he's a
think
watch
it was
guy.
Hodinkee. Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. So my pick. Let me just share this screen right now. I think we've spoken about this before. It is just on budget. Here we go. So the C65 super compressor, which I just love. I love the case aesthetic. I love the inner rotating bezel. I like the brown dial. I know we said under 1,000, but I know Christopher Ward do a lot of these £100 vouchers, so I'd get
That's
it for
right. Yep.
I went with that. It's a super compressor case. Obviously supposed to form a tighter seal when there's increased pressure. Whether that's really relevant for today, I don't know.
And
go on, sorry.
I think this one's an actual proper super compressor, right? The way the case is designed.
You can see the orange compressor ring on the backlet.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a SW200-1 movement, 30-hour power reserve. It's got an anti-shock system in that. It's 41 mil and it's 47.12 millimeters lug to lug. So it's a really nice size. I think it looks great on the brown strap as well. Which is quite cool. But yeah, I just love it. And I know we've spoken about it before. I know that Ricky had one in for review and he absolutely loved it. I think he had this one, the green turquoisey one. But yeah,
I really like that color a lot too. It's really cool.
It's nice, isn't it? I prefer the brown, but to be fair, they're both lovely. So I'm looking forward to seeing one in person, definitely.
So, so does Christopher Ward in the UK? Do they only? I mean, here I think you can only buy them online. Is that the same case there? Are there any stores where you could try one of these?
I don't think there is a boutique. That's a good question actually, but I'm not sure.
I think that's probably how they keep some of the prices down, but I'm not sure. Yeah. That's a good pick. I like that.
It's a cool watch. Yeah, I really like it.
Wrist Ross is saying, would you take it on a tropic rubber or the bracelet? If you know Dan, he hates rubber, right?
I take it on the bracelet and then buy additional straps afterwards.
Yeah.
But I always prefer bracelet watches. I just like them. So, right, okay, all online, no stores. Cool.
And a question, rhetorical question, probably.
Yeah. No.
Oh, Rolex was originally British, right?
Yeah, Hans Wilsdorf. He moved, I think, I'm not sure of the history. I'm not going to quote it because people will shout at me if I get it wrong, but wasn't all the production originally moved back it was in Switzerland, then it was all moved to England. And I think all the movements were produced by a English watchmaker. So yeah.
Interesting.
But don't quote me. And I'm sure people are going to shout at me for getting
we don't know best on those details, but that sounds about right. Sure, let's do it. Okay, no, so I like your first pick a lot. I think that's pretty solid. You're lucky to have Christopher Ward, I think, to pick from there.
Yeah. Karan said, if you call Rolex English, then IWC is US.
It was Americans that founded IWC, but they immediately were like, let's go get those Swiss to make these things. All right. Okay. Shall I carry on? I'll do. So at the $5,000 price point, things start to get pretty interesting. And I went with a company out of Pennsylvania. Oh, did I close it? Hold on. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. That does do some in-house stuff on the very higher end of what they produce. I couldn't afford that with a $5,000 budget. So here we are. If you notice the theme here, this is also sort of Flieger styled.
Yeah, I did. Again, when I briefly looked at your picks, I did think Arthur's definitely gone. This is his thing.
Yeah. So this is by a company RGM watches. They're in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is a small town in sort of the Amish country of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
RGM is the guy's initials, I believe, and it's I can't believe I'm forgetting it. I think it's Roland Murphy or Ralph Murphy. This is how we're on top of things today. But anyway, so this is about 38.5 or 39 millimeter. It is an ETA with a big date module and a second time zone module. So I think it's kind of a cool way to do dual time zones with this subdial within both hour and minute hands.
That is unusual.
Yeah. I like the onion crown on it too.
Yeah.
And yes, it's an ETA. He's put on these modules and he's done a little bit of a custom rotor here. He does go pretty high end and even makes what he calls an in-house tourbillon movement at the very high end. So yeah, but with the $5,000 budget, this is where I go. Kind of my taste, and it works. I can actually normally probably drive up to his workshop in a couple hours too. So,
and it's got a very, I would say, a very IWC case profile.
Definitely. Yeah, I think just a lot smaller. Yeah,
it's just a lot smaller, but it's kind of that look to it. But I do love the second time module. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, I think it's a cool way to display it. They do make some really interesting watches. Here, Wrist Ross was mentioning they make what they call a baseball watch and also a chess watch that have these beautiful enamel, I believe, hand painted dials where every hour marker is one of the chess pieces or some baseball stuff that Max would probably know more about. So,
yeah, it's nice. I like that. What do you think of the date placement though? It's a bit odd, no? Or
it's a bit odd, but at least it's centered, left to right. Yeah. I mean, I guess with the second time zone and the subdial, they're probably a bit limited on placement, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a cool pick. I like it. I do like it. And being that size as well, it would probably be... Do you know what the lug-to-lug is?
I don't. They do look like fairly long lugs. So I have a feeling it probably wears a little bit bigger than you'd think a 38.5 would be. But for me, that would work. So I have seen one RGM in person at a local red bar. He makes a couple watches that are sort of themed off of old railway timekeeping devices. And I saw one of those. Really, really cool, well-made stuff.
Yeah, I like that. It's cool. Definitely. Cool. Right. Moving on then. Shall we go to my next pick, which isn't that much more compared to the C65. So let me just get this up here. I don't think you could have guessed this, Arthur. Is a CWC RN Fleet Air Arm Pilot's Mechanical Chronograph. So these are £1,500. They're actually new, old stock. So debatable whether they're a little bit debatable there. It's a Valju 7765 movement. It's a 48-hour power reserve. They've got fixed spring bars, which I'm sure that a lot of people won't like. But that was a requirement by the MOD.
Right. Very military.
It's very military. 46 mil lug to lug, so extremely wearable for twiglet wrists like me. I just really like it. I just think it's really cool. I've seen one of these before. They actually did issue these as well to the BBC, to news correspondents. And some of them have the BBC stamped on the back of them.
That'd be cool.
Which is quite cool.
Try to find one of those.
You can definitely see the, like Vertex, they've got this like overly beefy case area where they protect the crown.
Right. Yeah.
So you kind of see the inspiration with that and the field watches. So yeah, I just think it's really cool. So,
it's definitely like very functional, military looking. That's really neat. With the T on the dial, is that indicating it's tritium loom?
Yes.
If it's new stock? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. They are. So yeah, really cool. I like it. Something different. I suppose the solid spring bars would be a bit of a pain, but it's not a big deal. So,
it's cool that you can really justify from its origins where that's meant to be, why that is functionally, right? It's meant to never be lost off your wrist, off a strap. So cool. And so you went under budget on this one, just particularly because you like this.
Just liked it. I've seen one before. I've seen an aircrew guy with one, and I just thought it was ages ago, and I just thought it was really cool.
So just different. I'm surprised at the price point you didn't go for like the recent Fears release. Actually, I know that's a bit dressy for you, but maybe that's where you're going next.
Wait and see.
Oh, okay. I'm going high end next. So yeah. So where I could have gone high end with RGM, I reserved that for something that I like even better at the $20,000 price point. And that is by another gentleman from LA as well, who I saw on a panel at Red Bar Global, along with Roland Murphy from RGM. And this guy, JN Shapiro, specializes in engine turn dials. And this is the Infinity in steel. And this website's photos are not great. Let me switch over to a Hodinkee article so you can get the real showpiece of this is the dial itself and the engine turning.
Need to remember to make sure that if there is an actual Scottish Watches article that we use it.
Yes, that's right.
Otherwise we'll have Scottish Watches towers on our case.
I'm not sure that they have written this one up, so I think we're in the clear. So these photos here are the gold version, which is above the budget, but in the steel case, it comes right in there. So these dials are engine turned by hand in Los Angeles, and the finish on this Infinity model has 4 different engine turned patterns and textures on the dial. Reading about this, just the subdial texture, which is this unique Infinity pattern that he came up with, you can see here. I've heard this subdial alone takes a week of one person's work to manufacture. Wow. So obviously there's huge emphasis on the dial. The hands are also really beautiful. It's definitely on the very dressy end of things. And but they do go to Germany for the movements. So again, it's a case of even getting pretty high end here in the US. There's not a lot of in-house movement making in the US. So you've got a bit of a Breguet theme, but sort of modernized with his own spin. And this is from Uhrenwerk Dresden, this movement, which I think is particularly cool architecture. And yes, it's German, not American. But in this package, I think it comes together for a pretty compelling piece of art. And this is the guy himself, Josh Shapiro, who runs JN Watches. JN Shapiro.
So Rick just get on with Roger Smith winning this and be done with it. Can you go back to it again?
Oh,
so I was going to say it is very Roger Smith. Now I didn't pick Roger Smith on my last pick because they're so expensive. They're so expensive. You can't get a Roger Smith for £20,000. I think the last 2 I looked at that went for auction, they were like 150,000.
You know, Dan, I was worried you'd pick a Roger Smith, so I suggested a $20,000 price point to try to avoid that.
I know that's why you did this, but I was going to say with that aesthetic, I think that is very Roger Smith.
It is, yeah. I agree with you.
There's one thing I personally myself I think that watch could do without, and that's the little plaque that says engine turn. It doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would prefer it didn't say California or engine turned. Just leave it cleaner. Of course, the dial itself, I love the texture, but the touch of having the little Infinity, which is the name of the watch, as the counterweight of the second hand, I really like. I think that's really cool.
And the hands themselves, they are stunning.
Yeah, it's sort of like an interesting modified take off of those typical Breguet hands with this thing that kind of looks like the Assassin's Creed logo for those that play video games.
So Rick just said I should use my Christopher Ward discount for my Roger Smith. Yeah, I don't think that would work.
Well, to be fair, you saved like 4,000 pounds off your second pick, right? It was like 1,200 instead of 5,000, so you got a little credit there.
Yeah, I still don't think it's gonna cut it that much, though. Do you?
No, I don't think it'll do.
No, but can you show the back of that again? Because I
Yes,
just sort of skimmed past it quickly, but it did look amazing. The movement looks amazing. Yeah, that looks really cool.
Just clearly a movement architecture developed with some aesthetics in mind. I really like these little bridges or whatever.
The thing is with that movement though is the bridge, like some high-end movements are hidden quite a lot by the bridges, but that isn't. Yep. That's quite on display, so I do think that looks really nice.
That's true, especially German movements, right? They often do that 3/4 plate that kind of like captures all the gear trains and stuff. This is a German movement with a very different philosophy, and I think it's pretty cool.
I'm going to pick this gentleman's comment because he has a funny name. There's a meteorite one that's incredible. What a fantastic name you have.
I think Max avoided saying his name last week during a comment. Yeah.
Excited Ninja. Let's call him Excited Ninja.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a family show.
People are calling me out that it's 21,000. Yes, I'm 1,000 over budget, but it's in the ballpark.
Of course, and because I've got extra money left over, then I'm going to gift it to you, like I've done in the past on our other challenges. And
thank you. There
you go. See,
some people, including Karan, say looks like a budget Breguet. Hint, hint. Next watch, Arthur. No,
I think it's very nice. Cool. Okay, so my pick is kind of what you said just a moment ago. Let me just get this on the screen. Is the Fears Brunswick Midas Silver. I think this thing's beautiful. I think it is absolutely stunning. I love the Edwin Arabic numerals. I think they're really nice. It's got that like galvanized dial. It's 38 mil. It's 42 lug to lug, so it's really compact. For someone like me, it's fantastic. It's an ETA 7001. Yeah, and that's about it, really. It's fantastic.
I love it. And being on the Scottish Watches Live where Nick talked about designing this, particularly, he had a totally unique font design for those numerals, right?
That's right. He called it the Edwin. Is it the Edwin
I think
numeral?
So. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's lovely. Probably the photos don't do it justice, especially the graining on the dial. I just think it's lovely. It's just such a lovely color.
I know it has its own history in that case shape, but I just want to point out this is the closest thing to a Panerai that Dan has ever picked. It's kind of, and it's because of the like pocket watch case shape origins, but it looks kind of radio mirror-ish. And I know it has its own history, but I just had to say it.
I think we should get Nick here so he could tell you off, because I think he'd be disgusted.
he did say he hears that, and but that it has its own differences, and it does. And I think I've actually seen some pictures of older Fears watches from before he revived his family's company that had this case shape too from long ago. So I'm not claiming he's got his own lineage of the design there for sure, and it definitely stands out. But I just had to give you crap for that, of course.
Of course you did, yeah. And I kind of expected it, to be honest with you. I know your game. I just think
Panerai.
I have tried one before. I've tried the blue, Fears Brunswick blue, and it does sit so nicely on the wrist. And their straps are fantastic as well. So, yeah.
You've got one of their wool straps, don't you? Or Freya does?
Yeah, Freya's got one of their wool straps. She's also got a blue strap of theirs. And of course, I've got the Fear Streamline. So,
yeah.
Which is cool. So
Nick is a national treasure. That probably bumps things in the British favor here, since we know the guy.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. But it's he's just such a nice guy. And I genuinely think they're beautiful. They're stunning to look at. And I've got a diver, I've got my aviation, and I've got my dress watch. So I covered everything I needed to cover.
And I went field watch / flagger, and dress watch.
So I was you and you was me.
Yeah. You went for variety this time, and I was just sort of like straight for the, couple things I found.
I didn't intend for it to be like that. I just did my research, and those were the ones that kind of stuck out for me. Yeah, beautiful watch. Shame Dad will never own it because it's not a Speedmaster. That's not necessarily true.
Because you do have a Fears, the Redcliffe. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Fears. Yeah, of course.
So I wanted to ask, I think those are all really good picks. Was there anything closer to the 20,000 price point that appealed to you, or were there just not options there?
Not really. No, there was a is it a Garrick? I think Nicholas has one of these, and I'm probably saying it completely wrong. Let me just find it. Garrick watches. There was one. Yeah, that was 18,000, called a Garrick Portsmouth. I'll just get it up on the screen so you can see it. I do like it, but I wouldn't go for it. Hang on 2 seconds. I'll just get this up on the screen right now. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's got I quite like the hands with that, like, I don't know how you would describe it, that kind of wiggly bit.
The counterweight looks like makes it look like a pickaxe or something.
That's
like
it.
The whole
Yeah. So yeah, it's quite nice, but I suppose that would be the one thing I might pick. But
kind of funky sub-second placement, right? Up there, up at like 10 o'clock. Huh.
Yeah, but I prefer the Fears, so that's why I didn't pick it.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
So what about yourself?
I considered some of the higher end RGM stuff, but I was trying to maximize my budget, and I really liked the engine turning on those dials on the JN Shapiro. At the lower end, there were more options. Sanford in the comments here has just pointed out, I did pick a Weiss. There were other things to consider in that price range. Oak and Oscar being one. You're almost in, I guess, what people tend to refer to as micro brands at that price point. Vortic watches would be another one. For me, I was really intent on picking an American watchmaker that does a lot of in-house manufacturing of parts, even though the movements aren't in-house. In the Weiss case, they do the finishing, and I believe the assembly themselves. And I like that he's got aspirations to evolve to a full in-house movement. He's stated that in some interviews I've seen with him. And I just like the watch too. So it was kind of all that rolled together. I went with Weiss for my first pick.
So Watch Medicine, I did wonder whether someone was going to point this out. Dan didn't choose a Bremont, right? Thank the Lord. I'm not a massive fan of Bremont. They're probably nice watches, and I have seen them, and they're built very nicely, but I'm just not a huge fan. I think they're all quite large, very large, quite hefty, and I'm just not a big fan of the designs on a lot of them. I think the only one that I sort of like is the Boeing. They do a Boeing Tri-Compact, which is a Value 7750, which is quite nice, but it's really thick. And I just think it's a little bit unnecessary.
I've seen a few in person because my friend Roberto, who sometimes joins these, and if he's not on now, we'll be watching later, I'm sure, is a fan. And my favorite of his was the Spruce Goose limited edition one, which it's a really nice sort of aviation themed one. And in the back, the rotor, the winding rotor is actually a propeller shape, and it has actual wood from the Spruce Goose inlaid on it.
How did they get away with that? How did they do that?
I have no idea. but it's kind of cool. It definitely came at a price, but that one fits really well, wears really well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
that's my favorite.
I've just seen another comment as well. Did I consider Farah? Yes, I did. Particularly the World Timer, because I think that's an amazing watch.
Yeah, that's a really cool. Would you go with the one with the fully loomed dial or the World Timer ring?
I think I'd have to see both of them because I like them both. I like the blue one and I like the fully loomed one.
Yeah. Is there another color too?
Yeah, there you go. That's nice as well.
Yep.
And I've never seen. I like their designs and I like what I see, but I've never seen one in person. So I'm looking forward to seeing one day. Have you ever seen one?
I have seen one of the three-handers. Yeah, a friend of mine bought one. I don't think he held on to it, but he's a picky guy. He flips a lot. So
yeah, okay, fair enough.
Let's see. Blaine's got a good suggestion here. I don't know if I'm the right person to be doing this, but someone should start the American Watch and Clockmakers Association and use that to try to help revitalize the industry. We are plucky and industrious, and we rebelled against a certain empire for our own independence. So who won? What do we think of the comments?
I think we spoke about this off air. We're not going to go with this on air.
We don't usually talk politics on the show, but this is politics from hundreds of years ago. So I think it's been resolved by now.
Yes. Oh, you won.
I don't know. Your picks are good. I like the variety. You know, I feel like I didn't have. We were both limited, right? I mean, that's the unfortunate state of the industry in the two countries. I would have liked more variety, but I had to pick my favorite at the price points, and that's what I did. So
Rick has the Boeing. I have the Boeing. It would fit my ankle. That's about right.
You've got a vote here.
Have I?
Wrist Ross says it was an upset and you won.
And Swiss Made Obsession agrees with me that.
Controversial.
I'm surprised people liked the CWC because that's very tall watch, isn't it? I just think it looks cool, and it would fit that kind of everyday speedy kind of use for me. So it kind of looks sort of like that, doesn't it?
I gotta say it's my least favorite of the three. I like the functional sort of minimalistic tool look, but that case shape kind of Rick's mentioned here would have gone Vertex rather than the CWC. I do really like the Vertexes. They
are lovely. Too big. I'm sorry, but they are too big.
No, I would take it.
They've just done a bronze one, haven't they? It is nice. What do you think? So like that crown protection, that extra meat around the side, do you like that? Because I do think it looks a little bit odd.
On the CWC?
Yeah,
that's where I think things are a little weird. It's funny, the Speedmaster actually kind of the Pro does something similar, right? It's actually fatter on the crown side to protect the pushers. But they do that nice bevel there that kind of hides some of that fatness. So
yeah. See, Sanford, he likes the CWC because it was unique. And Rick says, I'm too small.
That's more like it.
That is more like it, definitely.
Yeah, Roberto is here chiming in that of course he loves Bremont, but he also loves Weiss as well. So maybe I should put my money where my mouth is and get a Weiss one of these days. Especially, I'm interested to hear more about his move to Tennessee and what he hopes to do there. So we'll see.
Yeah, probably speak to the two cats to begin with.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They should get in touch.
Yeah, have they done a podcast with him? They probably haven't. I should imagine they would.
I'm not sure. I don't think they have. Not that I've heard, at least. But
no.
They've done a lot. Okay. So
cool. So have we got any more questions? Anything people would like to know? Any suggestions for what we could do in the future for shows? Where we're always open to ideas. Hopefully next time we're going to have someone on for interview. We haven't decided who, and they don't even know who themselves yet.
We've got a couple opportunities with Karan's help to maybe bring some folks on from brands to ask them some questions. So let us know if you'd be interested in that sort of thing. It'd be sort of a live Q&A with Dan and me asking them some questions, but also, of course, Q&A from you all. So we've also got an idea to potentially bring Karan on and get a dealer perspective. So let us know what you want to hear from next. There we go. Let's go to the source.
Yeah, right. Get that down in the notes, Arthur. Max has asked me how my running's going. Thank you, Max. Yeah, it's quite difficult. My legs are starting to get a little bit tired. I've done, I think, I haven't calculated it totally yet. I know I've done well over 100 kilometers so far. But yeah, it's good. The weather's turned a bit windy recently, so running up the hills with the wind against you is quite difficult. But no, it's all for charity. So yeah, I will do it. And thanks to everyone so far that's donated. It's been fantastic. It really has. So thank you. Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad the fundraising's going successfully. And you're running more than you promised, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing a minimum of 6K a day. This time last week I did 14K. But I did remind myself that I've got another 20 days to run. So I needed to kind of take it steady.
Yeah. Don't want to burn yourself out.
No.
Here's a show idea.
Okay.
Watch Medicine says, I would nominate Breitling versus Panerai challenge, but Dan has to choose 3 Panerais and Arthur has to choose 3 Breitlings.
He must live in some sort of alternate universe where that happens.
No, I like this. I don't.
No, I'm not doing that.
I did have an idea, which I thought would be interesting, which is try to do single brand collections. Like what brand would you pick for where you had to make a collection entirely out of a subset of just their current watches or past watches, perhaps?
Yeah. So really what that is it's Arthur talks about Breitling and gets all the praise for it. And I pick Breitling and everyone shouts at me and kicks off.
Yeah, that'll be entertaining.
Yeah, I know that's what you're after. I have been looking at, and this is news to you. I've been speaking to Watch Fred about cosmonauts. And I do feel, speaking with Max and last week, he's kind of inspired me a little bit about the vintage side of things.
Yeah.
And I think I would like a vintage cosmonaut. 66 or 67. I want a gold one. They're gold plated. So I'm just doing a little bit of research about that at the moment.
Is this the side? Would you go for the wide bezel or the dandy watch?
Unfortunately, the wide bezel. If I'm waiting for a wide bezel, I think I could be waiting 10 years, maybe longer. I mean, they only made 500 of them.
Okay.
But and they're 35,000 pounds, I think, for a decent one. Well, that's what I've been told.
Really?
And that's a lot of money. That's like, and vintage Breitling. And I know you're all going to moan at me and all kick off Breitling, but they are an absolute bargain for what they are. They're a bargain.
People aren't paying enough attention to them, I think.
No.
And that was really, I think that's their strongest suit as a brand, is the heritage stuff. And that's why your 806 appeals to you, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But that's probably a chat for a whole another thing. So so I've been looking at them. I've been trying to see the differences, and apparently they only made the gold for 2 years, for 66 and 67. There are very slight differences on the outer rings. Some of them have like orange markers, some of them don't. And Watch Fred was saying that a lot of it is not. There's a lot that isn't classified, that isn't in the archives and things like that. So finding is quite.
Can you pull up a picture? I'd like to highlight a couple comments while you do. In response to the one brand to make your collection from, quite a lot of people mentioning Omega, Rick, Sanford. I agree. There's just such variety there, whether it is modern or vintage. That would be hard to resist, quite honestly. Roberto is making fun a bit of the size issues. Is 40 millimeters too big here? This is like Hodinkee squared. To which Rick replied, LVMH check is in the post. I've got a whole range of sizes. I'm not a size queen.
Unfortunately, I am restricted by the size because of my twiglet wrists. I'm just
That's
trying.
Not my fault.
No, it's not your fault. I'm trying to find a decent picture here, which I'm not having a great deal of luck.
That's okay. I put you on the spot, I know, but
you did put me on the spot. I'm trying to find one that's actually authentic because a lot of them, looking at them, they aren't. Oh, here's one. I want one with a twin jet on as well because I think it looks amazing. Oh, here we go. Right. Here we go. There we go. Oh, bugger off. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
I think they're stunning. They're absolutely beautiful. There's slightly different variations of dial text on them. Some of them don't have the AOPA wings on. Some of them have the twin jets. Why does that picture not scroll? It doesn't go down any further. Some of them have like orange marks on the white outer ring. That's my favorite iteration there.
Yeah,
just stunning.
With the gold, I don't think you need the orange. I just think it looks cleaner like this. Yeah,
that's exactly my thinking, and I just think it's stunning, absolutely. And I really would like a 24-hour complication. I just think it's cool.
Yeah, Dan, how much have you? Hold on. Oh,
yeah.
Swiss Made Obsession says, "OMG, that's beautiful." How much have you paid Roberto for this comment?
Roberto, you meant to keep that quiet. Shh. No, it's like Max was saying the other day. They are not. I don't think they're appreciated, and really the variation of chronographs, if you like chronographs, the variation of them around is amazing in what differences there are. But you know, delving into that whole vintage thing. Of course, Max is neo vintage, so they're. You know, there's enough information available about a lot of them, probably because they're not really that old. But going back to the vintage Breitling stuff, some of it is a minefield, knowing if it's right or not, if it's a Franken watch, if it's a fake.
Right. Especially because it seems like they haven't even documented necessarily all the variants that they did produce. So you don't know if that's someone, as you said, Franken watch versus something real.
Yeah. So, yeah, stunning. So I've been thinking about one of those very, very seriously. Maybe instead of the Pan Am, but we'll have to see. And Karan will be maybe pulling his hair out right now.
We've got some other show ideas here.
Maybe
sorry.
Maybe
that sounds good. Just expand the Breitling collection then. Some interesting ideas for like brand group competitions or topics. Swatch versus Richemont. Swatch, Richemont, LVMH, and Kering. Yeah, that'd be some interesting ideas there. So we'll play around with that.
That's a good idea.
Thanks, everybody. Cool. I think that about does it. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's it. I thought I'd get my little bit of Breitling chat in there. I did try and dissuade it, but you all mentioned Breitling, not me. So I thought you all encouraged me, particularly you, Arthur. So it's your fault.
Well, I did think it was interesting that Max's vintage talk has influenced you or given you the courage to go look around that space. So that's cool. No, I think that'd be really neat, actually.
Embrace imperfection, Arthur. Embrace it.
I'll try. Maybe one day.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Cool. This is fun. Thanks, everybody, for joining. And check out some American and British watchmaking. There's some good stuff out there. And I think sometimes it's so easy to be swayed by all the coverage in the media of the big brands that I think these up and coming guys need our support. So cool.
Rick said that Zero West is on the podcast tomorrow, so that should be an interesting one.
Yeah, definitely. Check out everything Scottish Watches on this channel, the main channel, and the podcast. So
yeah, cool.
We'll see you all soon.
See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.